feeling like the black Superman right now. For real. You know what I mean? Doing it real big in the hood. Right now, my esteemed guest that's sitting with us over 29 years in the business, strong. We out here living like hustlers. What y'all know about that? We living like hustlers, and it hasn't stopped. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Above the law. Appreciate it. Now, above the law, man, you know, like I said, since 93, you guys been doing this, man. Since 90?
It's 90, yeah.
Actually, 90, excuse me, right. 29 years is 1990, right. And you came with Living Like a Hustler.
Yeah.
And then you got a project now, too, also, right? The best of ATL?
Well, I mean, you know, it's a lot of greatest hits floating around. Yeah. But, you know, we got a book coming out next year, and we got some unreleased tracks that me, Kokane, and KMG, and DJ Chaos did before KMG passed. So, rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace.
KMG.
KMG was raw, too.
Yeah.
Them raw lyrics. Now, Kokane, were you originally a member of the original group when it first started, or how did it go?
Well, you know, my cousin took me under his wing. You know, we come from a musical background, so back when they was getting put on, you know, to Ruthless Records, you know, Eazy E allowed, you know, Hutch could tell you better than I can, but he allowed us to be us. And actually, my cousin named me. You know, because it was a different name. You know, we've been in the game a long time. You know, so back then they used to call me Jay Golden.
Okay.
You know, raw, still. Okay. But he said, nah, man, we signed to Ruthless Records, man. We're above the law, man. You got to be Kokane.
Yeah.
So I sat back for a minute. I said, man, that's the dopest name in the game. So, you know, he took me under his wing, developed me over the years. And, you know, my humble opinion, every Michael Jordan needed you know, Phil Jackson. Yeah. So he was my Phil Jackson to the game.
Right.
And I checked in, put out a record in 1991. But they were scared of the name because at that time the laws didn't permit Kokane to be said on the radio.
All the censorship.
But we checked in 91, and that was my first invitation into the game as Kokane.
Yeah. So what was your opinion of Cold187 and his production and everything? Because a lot of people may or may not know that Cold187 produced a lot of that music.
Yeah, all of Above the Law. I was
all of
the producer.
Above the Law you produced?
Above the Law, yeah. I think the thing, like, back then, you know, no disrespect to like Mustard or nothing, or these producers that always tagging their name on the beat. I was just a guy when I came up, was the music guy from my clique, so I just produced everything. I just was the guy that was behind all the music, you know. Eazy E, when he put me at Ruthless, he put me under Dr. Dre's wing, you know. So then I started producing records.
How did he find you guys?
Oh, a good friend of ours, my boy, a good friend of mine, so he passed on. His name is Dooley. He was mutual friends with a cat named Laylaw. Laylaw at the time was writing songs for NWA and on the road with them. And they heard our demo, which was Living Like Hustlers. Took it easy. They was still developing Ruthless Records as a label, because at the time it only was JJ Fad and them.
Yeah.
It wasn't a label established, and they were developing DLC at the time.
Did you see a prime opportunity right then? Like
because Eric wanted to expand. He wanted to really become a bona fide label, so he needed like a group to actually be the mirror of NWA, but be totally different from NWA, but that he could get behind. So we were a package already. We were the full package when I brought the demo Living Like Hustlers to Ruthless. It was already developed.
Okay.
The sound and everything was developed.
He was real appreciative of that. Didn't have to do too much work.
Yeah, because me and Dre just wired everything up. We bumped everything up. It was on 16, 8-track live
What did you get from Dre? How he feel about your material when he first heard it?
One thing I got from Dre that, you know, it was very different than NWA.
Right.
You know, so he loved it. It was real funky. Right. So we kind of like locked in right there. Right. The greatest thing I think I got from Dre was like just how when I bumped the records up, how to really make the records really intense, like the whole body of music. You know, like when you have a bunch of records, you know, you're a young producer. I think I was like 19 at the time. I was a young producer.
Yeah.
And so I hadn't really developed like how to make real records yet.
Right.
You know, had all the ideas and everything formulated. But the funny thing about it was 80% of Living Like Hustlers is the same as the demo. Only thing me and Dre had, it was like 3 records: Freedom of Speech, what was it, the last song, and Kicking Lyrics. And just those 3 songs. Everything else was from what I did on the demo.
Okay.
We just bumped the music up so sonically it could sound big. You know, it was done on an 8-track or a 16.
You bumped it up, what you mean? You added more flavor?
No,
more
we
sound?
just, you know, back then, you know, okay, say I recorded a lot of the demos on 8-track.
Okay.
A lot of them on 16-track. What we did is took the same original.
8-track, 16
Yeah,
track.
I know.
What y'all know about that?
So what we did, we just ended up taking it and bumping it up
Okay.
to 24 to give it
Okay.
more clarity.
Okay.
You know, and EQ'd it in, and Dre was sick with the EQs. He taught me all those things. By the time I was developing Kokane, the cool thing about it was that's how we discovered G-Funk.
Okay.
Because when I was developing Kokane, he was actually, because on Living Like Hustlers, it's real funky, but it's kind of like the birth of it, you know. But when I had the other elements, like vocally, like him and KMG,
Yeah.
that was the birth of G-Funk.
Okay,
You know what I mean? Because I had both worlds. I had melody, hardcore, and us three together doing harmonies and stuff like that. It created that sound, you know. So the next few records that we done leading up to like Uncle Sam's Curse, his record really was the blueprints of how that theory evolved. His first Kokane record was that theory that developed Uncle Sam's Curse, which Trey, you know, a Black Superman record, and you know.
Now that
records.
song right there, man, it carries a lot of weight to it. The Black Superman. You saying a lot of good stuff in that song, right? Like what people can appreciate.
Right.
They can appreciate a lot of your material to this day.
Right.
Did you know that it was gonna have the type of impact it was gonna have once you created it?
Yes and no. The reason why I say that is because you remember when we developed Uncle Sam's Curse album, when we brought it to Ruthless, it's a gangster political album.
Right.
It's like when we was developing the ideas on the songs, me, KMG, DJ Chaos, Kokane, and we were developing it, we said, what if NWA and what Public Enemy did a record together, then you would have Above the Law, Uncle Sam's Curse. That's how we developed it.
Right.
So when we took it to them, we were like, okay, we want to do these type of songs. And they're like, oh, a gangster political record. But back then, Eric was like, try it. So we did the whole record.
He was open. He was just...
Yeah, so we did the whole record.
All the way up.
The funny thing about Black, we about to tell you yes and no. The funny thing when we did Living Like Hustle, he knows this. Black Superman was the last record we cut. When we cut the record, when we cut the whole record, we would have a listening party. Eric would come in. He'd be like, okay, let me hear what y'all got. I don't want to hear till y'all feel like y'all finished. So he come in, he sit down, he like, okay. So we played the whole album.
Right.
I said, but I'm mixing this record called Black Superman right now.
Right.
Tell me what you think about it. So we played Black Superman. And you know how the strings go down and they start going down. So we in there smoking.
Yeah.
He's like, hey man, that's y'all single. I said, what? We just cut it like 3 nights ago. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He said, that's the best song on your album. He said, that record is going to make everybody listen to everything I just heard. He said, that's your single.
Yeah.
You know. And what people don't know about Black Superman, secondly, he stole the record from us. And he put out a bootleg of Black Superman
Wait,
to all the DJs.
He stole the record from
Yeah,
him?
we delivered the record. Yeah.
What?
But it blew the record up because, like, say you're a DJ, you got the record early on a white label.
Yeah.
And then it caused the controversy on the record. By the time radio got it, it was already a hit. It was Runaway, you know what I mean? Because we didn't want that. We wanted California to be the first single. Remember? We was like, because we didn't want to scare. We didn't want to scare the shit out of everybody. We thought Black Superman would scare everybody off, and because we had just came off of VSOP, a real heavy G-Funk record.
You know you wanted to go in that area, but you wasn't quite ready to make it a single.
Yeah, and like I said, we was kind of dipping, and sonically it was real funky. Like I said, you know, for us the G-Funk. But when we put the politics to it, we thought if we led with a record like Black Superman, it would scare everybody. You know, and it was big as it was. Yeah, and it was bigger than it was the biggest record because we had just left Warner Brothers at the time, and they thought VSOP was going to be this big breakout radio record, which it was a hardcore record that did really good. Black Superman did 3 times better than that in radio.
How did it do how were you received overseas with it?
Oh, incredible.
Incredible.
And the thing about Black Superman that people trip off Black Superman, and I don't know if you remember this, when we were going to take Black Superman was so big urban, right?
Yeah.
That they approached pop radio with it. It has so many BDSs in it. on it, right? It was just a radio. It ran away. We couldn't even understand it. They took it to pop radio and they said the only reason why we can't play this record is because it's called Black Superman. That's the temperament of how the business was. People don't know that. That's what people don't know.
So did that affect you going forward?
Absolutely, because we could have been what you saying, like if you take the equivalent of saying like how the Migos are super popular like now. We would have been that. We love being a hardcore group. We love doing what we did. We love the fact that
figure you could have crossed over even more.
And that's to answer your question. We didn't think it would be that big. We knew it was a great record in the hood that everybody would bump.
Right.
We didn't know that when they took it to pop radio and it was that big enough to cross over.
Right.
It was huge enough to cross over.
Right.
And the only reason why I didn't cross over because it was called Black Superman.
Oh! Now what prevented you from folding when your guy Cam G passed?
Oh, well, I mean, I would
Other
say...
than the fact you selling a lot of records and you building a brand of yourself.
I would say it's what we don't do. One thing I would say is that's what we don't do. That wouldn't protect his legacy if I did fold. It's not what we came together as brothers to do. So I have to continue to protect the legacy. That's why I stopped. That's why I never stop grooving.
Right.
You know what I mean? He wouldn't have wanted me to do that. It wouldn't be healthy, right. For what we built, as above the law. Right. So, yeah.
Well, I know you guys got to go. You got a new project, the best of, above the law, Cold187. And you got Kokane.
Me and Kokane got a project coming out.
This one right here?
And then Kokane got Finger Roll out right now.
This Finger Roll, can we get a close to this? You produced on this too?
I just overseen it.
He overseen it. Exactly. Yeah. On that particular project.
We got to branch out. We can't keep the same for the whole time.
We do, because we got AOGF. But
Architects of G-Funk.
That's right.
That'll be coming out soon. But that particular project is an independent project put out on my label called Buddy Boy. So go check that out. It's at buddyboyent.com. You spell it B-U-D-E.
Hey, that's what the Browns general manager.
B-O-Y-E-N-T. Yeah. So that's the label. We got Bootsy Collins, native to Ohio.
Yeah. Out the Bootsy. Bootsy rock with us.
Give Goody.
You got him on there, right? Because of the G-Funk. Because of
G, man, ain't no G-Funk without the P-Funk, baby.
That's right. That's what you do know.
Yeah. Yeah, birth of the funk, Yeah. So, go check that out and check us out tomorrow, man. We're going to give you a classic show.
Yeah, y'all got a great show coming up tomorrow
Yeah.
at Club Captivate, the Potato Bar, downtown Cleveland. You don't want to miss it. I love the 90s tour.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Really, really dope. And real quick, can you give some words of encouragement to the youth that look up to you guys, man? Because we deal with a lot of youth in the community.
Well, I want to say one thing. Always chase what you're doing in a positive fashion, and also stick to what you do. Don't try to be somebody that you're not.
Right. Right. Yeah, keep it authentic, baby.
There you go.
I want to appreciate Above the Law for coming on. You know what I mean?
Thank you for having me.
And thanks for the gift too, man. I really appreciate it. Way to be that. Yes, sir. Thanks, sir.
Here we go, as the tune starts to move with the back. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, and this is OG. But you don't hear me though.
Get to the week. Get that much. People talk about the exam.